Bonjour, my friends, and welcome back. Today in the studio, we had returning guest and good friend, Justin Nault. The first time Justin came on the show, he was dropping bangers left, right, and center, and today is no different. But this time, he's a dad. So we obviously talked about his journey into fatherhood, how he's choosing to consciously parent with his partner to raise a very securely attached child. We talk about everything that's going on in the health world, some of the trends, some of the good stuff, some of the bad stuff, why your favorite influencer is probably traumatized, and that's why they are so famous, and why the more you trust the science, the more likely you are to die. Yep, you heard that right. So I'll let Justin explain those things. Let's get into it with my friend, Justin Nault. It's so good. This is going to be like a podcast and a catch-up in real time because we've been exchanging awesome voice notes. We keep tabs on each other, and it's been about 18 months since our last podcast, believe it or not, which is crazy. Yeah. So a lot happens in that time frame, especially for you because you're initiated now into fatherhood, man.
Yeah.
Where to even begin? But what's that like?
I mean, everything they tell you it's going to be, and then a whole bunch of shit you don't know it's going to be, you know? We were talking about that offline of like, nobody can prepare you for it. It's been the craziest experience of my life. It's like every day. Now we're over 4 months in. We just crossed 4 months. So she's like super smiley and super giggly. And no matter what, I could be gone for 30 seconds. I come back and she's happier to see me than any human has ever been to see me ever.
Yeah.
So it's like this amazing gift. And like, I'm fortunate enough that we're in a position where I don't have to go to a job or anything like that. So she contact naps on me for almost 6 hours a day in two different nap periods.
That's very cool.
I spend so much time with her and it's been amazing. But the beginning was challenging. The experience of birth was incredible and I'm like super grateful for that. But the next couple of weeks, you know, I turned 39 and then a month later had my first baby. You know, so late by some people's standards. And it was like, I had like an existential plus midlife crisis plus identity crisis, like, man. And I just had this like rattling of my brain, which actually, you know, this connects perfectly to a lot of the content I've been doing lately is all of a sudden my brain convinced me that every single thing I had ever wanted to do that I had not yet done, I needed to do immediately in the next 2 weeks. Like I needed to record another album and get back in the music industry and start doing live performances. And why haven't I trained jiu-jitsu in a year and a half? I'm a purple belt and I need to be a black belt. And also I did, 250 episodes of my podcast. Why haven't I done 1,000 episodes of my podcast? I stopped doing my podcast like 2 years ago. Why would I do that? My podcast is not big enough. My business is not big enough. Like everything, I started spiraling and I couldn't sleep. I was having dreams that I was like on stage performing and I'm like, did I really want to leave the music industry? Why did I leave the music industry again? And like, I knew I needed to leave at the time. And that was, COVID was when I really left, 2020. And I have loved that decision ever since. And now all of a sudden I have a little baby and my brain is convincing me maybe that wasn't the right decision. So I really had this interesting experience with time where I was like, okay, I didn't actually want to record a second album, or I would have. I've had, my first album came out in 2011. Clearly I had plenty of time to do a second album. I just didn't want to. But now all of a sudden my brain is convinced that I did. And then jiu-jitsu became a lower priority on my list of priorities. And now all of a sudden it's right up there, but all of a sudden everything I ever wanted to do was number one priority, which is how I knew, guys like us, we've done so much introspective work over the years to get to where we are. So I actively knew my brain was playing tricks on me and I wasn't going to feel this way in a few weeks. So then I started researching and learning that, after your baby is born, it's one of the biggest drops in testosterone that men ever experience.
Up to 25%, maybe more sometimes, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So, all that to say, it was really wild. And I started realizing that all of the things my brain was telling me I needed to do were 100% external validation based. It was like, I haven't done enough in this world.
Yeah.
It was this weird kind of graduating into like real becoming of a king. Like I have a queen, I have a princess, I am the king of this thing. And all of a sudden, like my kingdom was not big enough and I had to do more, but now I can't. Like I can't tell Megan, hey, for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to be in a music studio with a bunch of bros and we're just going to be making music for 12 hours a day and like sleeping on the studio floor. How's that feel? Next 6 weeks, you'll be here with the baby, you take care of that. Like I'll do this thing. You know what I mean? It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, now I feel much better about it and started coming out of it. And I thought to myself, how do I want to manage this? So I took 2 months off work completely. all my clients, group coaching, everybody knew like I'm taking 2 months off. 2 months came and went, and I was like, I still need more time. Like I can't get back into the swing of things. And that was when I just started like minimum effective dose. I'm like, all right, I'll do some talking head scripts in my car where I'll just like, what's top of mind? And I kind of just rant. I turned the camera on and I rant, and then I edit it down and see what was good, you know? Then I add little clips and stuff. I was like, I'm just going to post a few of these a week and see what happens. And Instagram grew by like, I think it was like 45,000 followers in 60 days. I was like,
Wow.
oh, okay. Because I think that's what happens when you are really just honest and like start talking about the things that are top of mind for you and how you've been thinking about them. So it was almost like therapy for me to get some of the ideas out. But the fatherhood thing was absolutely crazy. And then I got into all the grown-up stuff of like, now I have a life insurance policy and we have a trust for the baby and all these things. Like it was crazy. And now I've just settled into like full-blown dad mode. And Megan and I talked about this on a stroller walk with her the other day. We were like, it's so fun because at first it's like a larva, you know, and now she just has a full personality and is a member of the family.
Yes.
And you can't imagine your house without this member of the family in it. It just like erases. There's like pre-baby life and post-baby life.
Sure.
It erases it. I know you know this well. It's been incredible. I don't know what else to say, man.
Yeah. You know what's really exciting for me, for you also, is it's only going to get better from the dad side of things. What's really special is you're obviously extremely connected to your daughter. It's quite rare these days to be able to have that time, that space, that privilege, the contact napping with your daughter. So you're probably a lot more bonded earlier in the bonding kind of map for where it usually takes child to come online and really start to look towards dad for that security, because like you said, they're, blubber, they just want mama, they're on the boob, and it takes a little bit of time. And as they start to come more online, you really get this sense of like, wow, this person really does love me and they see me, and it just keeps getting better and better. And my oldest now is closing in on 6 years old, and it's still growing and it's still getting better, to the point where I said this on a podcast with a guest the other day, and it maybe sounds controversial or strange, but it is what it is. Like, I love my kid now more than I did then. Like, I love them. It was a weird feeling because I'm holding this child and I'm like, okay, I would die for you. No questions asked. I would sacrifice it all for you right now. But I wasn't that connected. But I still was connected enough to be like, this is everything right here in my hands that I created this cool little thing with my best friend. But then as time went on, I got that love just expanded infinitely more, infinitely more. So it's really crazy. So I'm excited to see how that evolves for you. But I'm also curious about this little mini existential crisis you was thrown into. How much of that do you think was a function of, by virtue of wanting to parent a certain way and take that very intentional time, the kind of forced slowdown that came with that, that these things bubble back up to the surface because you're a busy, high performing kind of guy. You do things, you're constantly out there in the world, pursuing, creating things of meaning, giving back to others. And all of a sudden you're like, boop, sit here and think for 6 hours a day.
That was exactly it. Yeah, 100%. It was, I was forced to reckon with, in a way that I've never had to, workaholism.
Yeah.
Like, I've been really fortunate, and, I say fortunate, but I believe we all create our own reality. And I created this crazy reality where I had a 15-year music career. Like, I've never had a 9-to-5 job. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't. I started playing music for a living when I was 17. 15-year music career, and then I got into e-commerce. I had, from the time she was born, I had 4 e-commerce brands at the time. It's like I still have multiple companies, the coaching, all the things. So I never took a traditional route. I've always been able to do things that are really cool. But also, as a result of that, we tend to not look at our workaholism the same way you would, like, oh, there's a lawyer at a law firm, and this guy's got a suit and tie and a briefcase, and he's working 100 hours a week, and he's missing family time and all this stuff. And, like, I look at that as workaholism.
Yes.
My constant need to do everything, I didn't look at as workaholism. And I thought that my life was very nicely balanced, because it's like I work a few hours in the morning and then I'm going to go to the gym. Like, I see your videos all the time. Like, you're always working out. Like, we love training. So I'm like, I'd go and I'd train, and then I'd coach some people, and then I'd work on this business or that business. And I'm working in like several hour chunks throughout the day, but it's really kind of sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
And when they're your brands or a personal brand like I have or whatever, there is no like, I leave my job at my office and then I'm home and I'm with my family. So I didn't realize the amount of time that I was really kind of checked out on achieving. I was checked out of life because I was busy achieving. And that was when I realized, even with all the work I've done, the last 10 years of my life, I call my self-love journey. And learning to love myself was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I've done a lot of hard shit. By far the hardest thing I've ever done and the most painful thing I've ever done. And even getting to a place now where my goal is unconditional self-love.
Yeah, that's the kicker, eh? The unconditional part.
And that's what I was faced with, is when I'm sitting here for hours a day, like, can I value that this little baby who's asleep on my chest, like, I'm building her nervous system right now. I'm building.
And you built that.
Exactly.
I know your wife's body built it, but with the combination of you two coming together, it's like, I built this thing which is sitting on me right now, and it's growing and it's regulating alongside of me. But then this voice comes in of all the other stuff that you're not currently doing. Your business is stagnating. Your social media is shrinking. You're not making as many sales. And you're just like, oh my God, it's very pervasive.
Yeah. And it switched. That was really what made me understand. And then Megan and I started doing, Megan did a ton of research during pregnancy, read a bunch of books, podcast stuff, and then started doing more of that when the baby was born. Because once the baby came out, she went, I mean, as far of like, I don't know, like trad wife as you could call it. Like, this baby will be exclusively breastfed. We will never have a night nanny. Like, I will wake up anytime she needs me to wake up for as long as she does. And we're doing co-sleeping. It was like she did so much research into like attachment styles and all this stuff and like really catering to the baby. So that was when I realized, I was like, okay, society is not set up at all to look at good parenting as an achievement. All of the other achievements that are like consumer-based or materialistic or fame, fortune, whatever you want to call it, those are held up on a pedestal much, much higher than being a good parent.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm in a lot of masterminds, e-commerce masterminds, men's groups, all these different things. So I know a lot of affluent people. And I was looking around, I'm like, there are some affluent couples that have 4 nannies. They have a daytime nanny and a night nanny.
Whoa.
And then they need another nanny on a weekend. And I talked to another friend of mine that's out in Europe. And one of his close friends had just had a baby, and he's running this big, massive company, whatever. And he was all upset because he's like, well, the only way I can still be productive, we have 3 nannies. It's the only way I can still be productive. And I'm listening to these words and I'm like, how is growing your baby not productive? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so strange. And that was really what helped me get centered and get focused. Of like, there's a problem inside of me. If like the number one thing that my biology is designed to do is this.
Yes.
To reproduce, to create a human and care for that human and help that human thrive until it can grow up and create more humans. That's the number one core thing. Why has every other thing in society hijacked that very important job? And for some reason, really, really hammering on that in my own mind and thinking, as I'm laying here for 5 hours while the baby naps on me, this doesn't feel productive. I'm like, no. I'm growing her nervous system. Her attachment style is going to be secure. Every time she wakes up, I lay her on her back and she does a big stretch. Then she catches eyes with daddy and just smiles and squirms and she's so happy to see me. And I'm like, this is the most important thing I've ever done.
Quite productive, I would say.
Quite productive, I would say, you know? And it really fucked my mind up, man. Yeah. And I went on a bit of a warpath about it when I started just like ranting about, you know, traumatized influencers and some of that stuff, where I was like, we're fucking people up because we're convincing people that you want to be like Alex Hormozy, or you want to be like David Goggins, or you want to be like Joe Rogan, or you want to be like Elon Musk. Most people do not want that. Like, that is a very, very dark path you don't want to be on, but they have a lot of fame and they have a lot of money. So they think that you want it. And you go back in time, man, Kurt Cobain, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, Amy Winehouse, Justin Bieber, like, just look at what happens in these scenarios. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that it doesn't end well.
Exactly.
But it's still the ultimate striving thing. And just kind of, I know I'm ranting here, but to kind of wrap this idea up is the video I did about traumatized on influencers, the number one comment, like on repeat, that was like the most like hateful or disagreeing comment I got, was saying that I was promoting mediocrity. And that was when I really started to like, okay, now I'm going to stay on this warpath. It is very important that I stay on this warpath, because how do you measure a subjective term like mediocrity? So if we take a human that is like cream of the crop, arguably one of the best people at making money in the world, Alex Hormozy, right? We look at the pie chart of what a man is, and there is a sliver that's like money making. Dude, you just broke the world record for like YouTube, made $100 million on a live YouTube. Insane, dude, you're so good at that. Bicep curls. You're really good at bicep curls and chugging protein shakes, bro. That's amazing. Those are 2 things you're great at, right? All the other things, like I'm really good at playing piano. Alex can't play piano. Is he now mediocre?
Right.
If we're judging by piano playing, you're mediocre. Steve and I are better at jujitsu than Alex is. If he's not as good at jiu-jitsu as we are, do we call him mediocre? We are dads. He's not a dad. He said publicly he's never going to have children. So if we judge a man by his measure of fatherhood, parenting, he's very mediocre. Like by every metric, he would be considered mediocre or even less than mediocre. But because of money and fame, everyone is measured against that metric.
Yeah, right.
That's the KPI for being a man, you know? And that really, I mean, it got me fired up. I was like, I'm just going to keep sharing about this because this is, we have tricked people. You will end up in a situation where you're very famous and very wealthy and you are wondering why you feel empty and your nervous system is dysregulated.
It is very interesting, isn't it, when you lay it up like that, that's the trump card for some reason.
Yep.
Whatever that is, a symptom of a spiritual misalignment, a sickness, consumerism gone mad, whatever. But yeah, I say this on the show a lot, but I love it. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get. And I think there's a lot of people in our culture, we've just described some of the names that are highly successful from that lens, at least.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted. They got the power, they got the money, they got the fame. Are they happy with what it got them? Because there's usually a trail of destruction in the wake of that. Not just the obvious things, like you get to a certain level. Like Joe Rogan, for example, no longer can go out in public without a security team around him.
Yeah.
That to me sounds awful. I would never want to reach that level of fame where I can't be out in public with my family. You know, and then you're thrust into the political landscape, and now you've even got threats against your life and things like that. But there's, you said, many names. There's this wake of destruction again. Should teachers, what Chris would call it an unteachable lesson. One of these lessons where we know, because people say these trite things all the time, like money won't make you happy and fame isn't the path. But for some reason in our little brains, we're like, well, but that doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
Like if I had all the money and I had all the fame, I'd be able to navigate it like some kind of ninja because I'm special.
Yeah.
Ignoring the thousands of people that came before me and fell to these very perils that I will somehow be able to navigate. And it's just like, I don't know. So maybe we just got to like reimagine the playing board. Like, maybe success itself is a subjective term if we're not playing by the rules of that game, you know?
100%. 100% is subjective. This is the account like Carnivore Aurelius, right? It's like, I want to move out on 100 acres of land and have cows and chickens and goats and be with my family and I will be ultimate success. Like to some person, that is the ultimate success.
Yes.
And that's what they should measure it by, right? That's the other thing too, is when I make videos like this, I'm not hating on these guys at all. They're weirdly perceived to be hate videos, but they're not. It's like their path is a 100% valid path, and I'm glad they found their path. I think that some of these guys that like Alex saying he works 16 hours a day or whatever, he seems to enjoy that, and he seems to want that, and seems to be clear on his vision. It's not up to me to psychoanalyze him and be like, okay, well, this level of ambition comes from trauma. I believe it does come from trauma. I believe his level of ambition comes from trauma. And he's also been very open around his wounding with his parents and his dad, and he thought he wasn't shit in his 20s and all this stuff. He has a lot to prove, right? So do I think he gets to the end of that runway and maybe is still left feeling a little defeated? I think so. And that's okay. That's still a 100% valid path. That's his human path that he's going to be on. But for all the people that don't love business the way he loves it, that don't love working 16-hour days the way that he does, that don't have the same kind of broken relationship with their family, so things like weddings and holidays and Christmas and all these things are more meaningful. They want to have those. They don't want to skip weddings. They don't want to skip weekends with their friends. They want other things. The more that they try to follow Alex's blueprint, the more miserable they will end up because it's out of alignment with who they are.
It's not theirs.
And this is the hardest thing, I think, as men, and I want to obviously pass this on to my daughter, and I'm sure you do in your kids too, is like owning your own authority, owning your own intuition, like knowing what you want, what your path is, creating your own blueprint that is like nobody else's. This is in the land of influencers and coaches and stuff. There is no competition for Justin Nault. I'm the only one of me.
One of one.
No one's going to compete with me. No one's going to compete with Steve. It can't happen. And when we look at it that way of like, as long as I'm on my own journey and I stand up and I'm like, this is the way that I'm doing it. This is what makes me happy. And also, by the way, if I start finding that I'm miserable in it and I'm still making content, I'm going to be like, turns out I'm pretty miserable doing this and let me share this with you guys. Like that's the real measure of authenticity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So just those videos are trying to help people understand if you are trying to do it Alex's way and you're broke and you're scared and you're miserable and you're pulling your hair out and your relationships suck and you're calling yourself a loser or a piece of shit because you're not as successful as Alex, You are not the problem there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the answer for you is not to watch more podcasts of Alex saying you just need to work nights and weekends and holidays and 16 hours a day. If you would just, I'm working 100x more than you. Don't you see that? You are the problem. Stop consuming that shit.
Yes.
Like, just opt out of it and you will be happier. For every 10 million people listening to Alex, there's probably going to be some number of people, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 200, that are fully aligned with him. And they're like, fuck yes, let's go. I'm going to do it. Alex, it's going to be great. And then you create like a mini Alex, which is like a Dan Martell, right? But most people are not that. And I just really want people to stop punishing themselves for not being just like someone else.
It's very well said, man. Because if you do adopt that lens, the best you can hope for in that scenario is to become the second best Alex Hormozy, because you're never actually going to beat Alex Hormozy at also him playing his version of his infinite game.
Sure.
So you have to question that, I think. But I do think that this is like it's a whole bigger conversation, right? Because you said it's not just traumatized influences, it's generationally traumatized humans that aren't securely attached, that are then raised, railing against the public school system, but it doesn't allow for proper individuation because there's too much clique games going on. The entire formative years of your life that you spend in public education, you're mostly trying to figure out how to fit in, which by virtue means how to be like everybody else, modeled off the most popular people in school. Here's what's really interesting. My wife, I don't even know if they're allowed to do this anymore because it's probably so offensive and hurtful to people's feelings. But she told me she was the prom queen. She got voted the best looking girl in class, all of those things. Yeah. By virtue of that standard at the time, they are the best things you could be called in school.
Yep.
She said, I was anxious, fucking miserable, and hated being around people. But she was, quote unquote, the best. So she's like, I'm one of those people that got the things at a very crucial time of life, 16, 18 years old. Like, this is the example. It was like miserable, anxious, don't like people, want to hide in a cave. And she then, like much later in life, like myself too, we probably travel was where we individuated a little bit more because you break free of the molds of the competition when everybody else is building their CV and you know, career, grind, hustle. We were like, how many coconuts should we drink today?
Yeah.
And really finding things that more aligned. And again, that path is not for everybody also. Like, I think the key point you're really driving at is just honestly sit and ask yourself, is the path that you are currently, or maybe better said, is the mountain you're currently climbing the one that you're going to be happy to find yourself on top of one day? Or are you going to do that thing where you climb, get there and say, motherfucker, it was that one. It was that one over here.
Yeah.
And now I've spent 20 years climbing this one. And then what do you do? Because now you've got the whole sunk cost fallacy and like, oh, I wasted my time and oh, regret. And I don't believe in any of that because once you were aware of it, you can change it at any moment. And you had to go up that mountain to realize it wasn't the right mountain. But man, wouldn't it be much better if we could just get people set off on the right foot from the beginning as opposed to having to learn all these painful lessons?
Yeah. And the thing that it's searching for, like Erica Komisar is I think she's I don't know her exact term, psychiatrist maybe, but she makes amazing content about how like the term stay at home mom became like a negative, like almost an offensive term.
Yeah. It's like, oh, just a stay at home mom.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And she's been on the warpath on a zillion. She was on Diary of a CEO and all these big podcasts talking about how millennials and Gen Z were really the most traumatized because we were the first generation after like what would be called second wave feminism, where like almost every household, it was nearly guaranteed that it was like a double income household. Both parents worked. Maternity leave is only 6 weeks. Like when I was born, my dad was an entrepreneur and he owned a big company, had 300 employees. The day after I was born, he was back at work, working full time. Yeah. You know, and then like if moms do get maternity leave in the US, it's 6 weeks and then they're back and the kids are in daycare or whatever. And she talks a lot about this, where general daycare in the US is usually like 6-to-1 child to caretaker ratio. So it's guaranteed neglect. When you're 6 weeks old, you need 24/7 attention. And anyone who's a parent knows this, right? So what ends up happening is you walk into an average daycare. She describes it as you'll hear babies crying. And then if that certain baby is not tended to, they will start crying. It sounds like they're being stabbed to death. They're like screaming, horrific crying. And if they're not tended to for a bit longer, they go silent. And they're in full-blown sympathetic, like they're in shock. They're like actually in shock from neglect, and their nervous system doesn't know how to handle it, so they just give up. And they experience that day after day after day after day after day. And the reason why I bring this up is because I didn't know this when I tried to become a famous musician, spent most of my life doing that. I thought I knew what I was chasing. And what I thought I was chasing was money and fame, and just wanted to be the best in the world, whatever that drive is, right? What I didn't know is you have to go one layer deeper. And you never want a thing. Nobody wants money. They want the emotion that comes after they have the money, which is usually safety, freedom, whatever. Yeah. Now, the way I break this down in coaching, I think this is really important. I think there are 2 drivers for all humans, period. Number 1 is I want more love. Number 2 is I am afraid of losing love. So it's love and fear, but they're really both love. It's just all Beatles. All you need is love, cliche stuff, right? Like we all just want more love. And I think a lot of that, this kind of hyper-obsessed millennials and Gen Z, everybody wants to be an influencer, everybody wants to be famous, blah, 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 is because of that trauma we just discussed when we were a child. Like we're not getting unconditional love. Our needs are not being met. We're kind of constantly, before we're even verbal, we're being taught that we're just not that important.
That's right.
Not only are we not that important, but as we grow and we see mom and dad stressed and, you know, no matter how everyone feels that day, we wake up with an alarm clock and they shove us in a car seat. Even if we're screaming, kicking, crying, throwing a tantrum, they drive us to the daycare and drop us off with strangers and they walk out. So we're not only told that our needs are not important, we're taught that we are a fucking obligation. You see what I'm saying? So I think we ended up with just countless millions of people who are absolutely starved for love and acceptance and nurturing. I also, side note, maybe we can bookmark this. I think this is the reason for the porn epidemic. I think the porn epidemic with men is much deeper than sex. I think it's more about love.
Yeah.
And we end up in this situation where we start chasing things. We think we want money. We think we want fame. We think we want, you know, to win The Voice or American Idol or some shit. All these things that took the world by storm. We're just like, everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants love. We didn't get the love that we needed. So what's happening with the analogy that you're using is we get to the top of the mountain, we have the money, we have the fame, we have the success, we have the accolades. But what happens when you do that as a performer, this is what I found in the music industry, why I ended up with a 6-night-a-week drinking habit, is I'm basically putting on an Iron Man suit and then getting on stage and doing my thing that lets the world know that I am exceptional. And because I'm exceptional, I'm now worthy of love. So please give me all the love. Don't you see I'm here being exceptional? And that led to, you know, I had countless experiences in front of thousands of people, and I had a reality TV show when I was 25 on ABC, a national network TV show, and get off stage and there's a line of people that want to take pictures with me and yada, yada, yada. Love, 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 love. What I didn't understand is when you get love from having an Iron Man suit on, the love doesn't get to you.
Yeah,
it can't penetrate the Iron Man suit. So then I go home and I take the Iron Man suit off and I'm sitting in my house and I'm by myself and it's quiet and there's no lights and there's nobody who wants to take a picture of me. And I'm like, here I am in my underwear. I'm a little drunk. I guess it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe I'll cook some eggs and then go to bed. And then I wake up alone and I kill time until the next night where I get on stage and get all the love again.
Yeah, right.
And then go home with no fucking love, right? So you end up on the top of the mountain, you have the thing. And I remember being in Vegas, filming the TV show. I know this is going to be on TV. And I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Like, I found myself in this situation. I was like, what is this? And we would like film a segment and I had to go sit in my hotel room. And I had a handler, like a security guard / handler that was there with me. If I wanted to go anywhere, I had to like tell the producers, and then this person comes and picks me up and I'm like being like controlled in this weird way. Like the whole thing sucked, you know? And I had no idea, hence the 6-night-a-week drinking habit. I had no idea that what I was looking for was love. Mm-hmm. So then when I left the industry and I first started doing talk therapy, and I think last time I was here, maybe we talked about my experiences with psychedelics and all these things, world travel. I remember when I took my first solo trip to Thailand. I was in Thailand for 4 weeks. It was the first time I'd ever done a trip like that. And I promised myself that I wouldn't tell anybody what I did for a living. Because being a musician is fucking cool, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Any room you ever walk in where there's a party and everyone, what do you do? I'm a lawyer. I'm an accountant. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm a professional musician. What? You make money doing that? Yeah, check this out. Yep. YouTube. Yeah. See that? I was on TV. What? You know what I mean? So it's like, how many seconds into a conversation as a 26-year-old with a TV show, how long am I waiting to tell people like, yeah, this fucking tool behind me, he's an accountant. Why don't you ask me? You know what I'm saying? But all of it is a desperate search for love.
No doubt.
the external validation cocaine that we go for is hunting for love. Now, unfortunately, the only way, longer story, but the only way you can get the love you want is through unconditional self-love. So you have to go inward. And that's why I said, like, from there, as soon as I left the music industry, I was on a 10 plus year journey of like, do I love myself? Do I even like myself, this version of myself that I've become?
Yeah.
And that was the hardest shit ever.
Oof. Yeah, dude. That's when it gets real. I mean, Gabor Mate's got this wonderful line about addiction, and this is kind of an addiction to attempt to acquire the love that you're seeking. And he says, you can never get enough of something that almost works.
Yeah.
And you were describing that so beautifully. Like every night when you went on stage, you're like, it almost works. And then you're at home in your undies feeling sorry for yourself. And you're like, well, I guess I'll just, maybe just more of it then. I'll go back and do more of it. Or maybe these 1,000 crowds are cool, but the 10,000 crowd must be where it comes from. And then the sold out arena, then the global stages. And then it's like, oh, I'm stuck in that trap. I can never get enough of something that almost works.
Bro, I'm smiling as like your word for word spelling out what my brain did the first couple weeks of the baby. It was like, no, I'm pretty sure I was miserable. I had toxic relationships. I was only dating groupies, so all that always went bad. And like, I worked every holiday. New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, 4th of July, I'm on stage. I missed everything. I couldn't hang out with anybody on the weekends, couldn't have a dating life. It really sucked. I was very lonely. And then this little voice would be like, you never played an arena.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, ooh, this motherfucker's
maybe he's right.
Maybe he's right. And then I'm like, okay, wait, I have a lot of followers now. I didn't have a lot of followers the first time. There was no Instagram, bro.
Right, that's right. So
like,
true.
I was going back and judging myself for not being more famous. And like, because now when you say fame, people think social media, like how many followers do you have? It's like kind of like, it's the same thing. And it's like an interchangeable term, fame and social media, right? So I found myself judging 25-year-old Justin for not doing a good enough job marketing himself when there was literally no Instagram.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing? Like, it's this weird time is not real. This version 39-year-old self is judging 25-year-old self for not knowing everything I know how to do now. Well, I'm an expert social media marketer now. You dipshit. Why didn't you just figure it out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was this idea in my head where I'm like, okay, well, what if I leverage my followers now and I record a second album? I'm still really talented. Let's fucking go. I'll do it. You know? And I just like this whole thing, like almost like pep talking myself to be like, I will just do this. I'll get my videos will blow up online, and then I'll get to just do arenas, and then maybe it's gonna feel amazing. That was the actual dialogue going on in my brain. I was like, this is insane, bro. I felt like a crazy person.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's a heck of a drug, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a heck of a drug, man. It's very interesting, and you know what it is. Ram Dass used to say that like our culture is like imbibed by this somebody training. That from the moment you're born, you are basically being conditioned to be a somebody. And the very innocent start is like, this is our family, and this is our family name, and this is what the men in our family do, and this is our values, and this is our religion, and this is our nationality. But then it just grows and grows and grows through enculturation. Exactly what you said when you're the guy at the party that's got the ultimate trump card of I'm the professional musician. What that is I'm more of a somebody than the other people playing the somebody game. Because if I'm with you and I'm playing that game, and I'm a barista, and you're a musician, by that metric, I'm less of a somebody.
Yeah.
And what it all, again, is an attempt to play status games, which is ultimately an attempt to gather the thing that we really want, which is security and hopefully love. But you hit the nail on the head, and I've been thinking about this a lot recently. And talking to some friends about this too, because I guess it's just part of the maturing process. And if you peel enough layers of the onion, it usually brings on a few tears, and you got to get to the deep stuff, right? So I think you're dead right. I think that the only way out is to recognize that you can only receive love to the degree that you can give it to yourself, not just give it to the Iron Man suit, not just give it to the persona, give it to you, all of you, warts and all. Unconditional self-love is a big term. I don't even know if most people know what unconditional love actually means, because we've been so conditionally loved and taught to love others and ourselves conditionally. Like, oh, my parents love me. But man, it really did feel like they loved me more when I was being good at school. Like, and that's a flavor of conditional love. So it's very innocent because they're just rewarding you. They're trying to reward the behaviors they like to see. But what's drilled into my nervous system is like, you're loved, you're good, but people love you more when you do good. And that becomes productivity dysmorphia or whatever it is. So what is the process like for you, and how do you help other people start to figure out what unconditional love even means, and hopefully get to a point where they can have that, to feel that.
Yeah, the hard part about it is Peter Crone has one of my favorite quotes ever about parenting, where he says, your kids will do a terrible job listening to you, and they will do an amazing job becoming you. And that's super deep, because I think a lot of us were inadvertently, the word trauma is loaded, but we were like inadvertently traumatized because, for instance, when I was 8 years old, I started playing the piano, and grown-ups lost their minds. They were like, this kid is a phenom.
He's an enigma.
He is the next Billy Joel. We need to watch this one, blah, 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 right? And they were being ultra supportive of me. I asked for piano lessons. I found a Billy Joel CD and I loved it. I was like, this Billy Joel guy's amazing. Mom and Dad, can I have piano lessons? Yes, of course. Super supportive. They come to all my recitals. Like, they were supporting me big time. But my little 8-year-old brain doesn't know. It's just like, oh man, this is more like holy shit attention than I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
So my little brain is just doing its own wiring deal of like, well, this is how you get love. You get love by being exceptional, right? So it's not my mom and dad's fault, right? No. That's the thing. Like in therapy, like you don't want to like blame your parents for stuff because they're responsible for, you know, the things that you love about yourself come from your parents. The things that you hate about yourself probably come from your parents inadvertently, right? So there's that whole game, like understanding the unconditional love piece. I think the reason a lot of us didn't receive unconditional love is because our parents didn't have unconditional love of self.
Of course. Yeah.
So our parents were also
they can't teach you something they never knew.
Exactly.
Right.
And like I said, my dad had $100 million business and 300 plus employees, and his company got voted the best place to work in Rhode Island for like 10 years in a row, and he like prided himself on like being this epic leader.
Big boots to fill.
Big boots to fill, you know? And he always told me, follow happiness. Like, don't worry about money. Like, you don't need to do what I do, whatever, right? Like, oh, you're a musician. That's amazing. I'm going to support you. And he was always just supporting me and wanting me to do what I want to do. But I watched him grind himself his whole life, you know what I mean? And end up with like, you know, a couple failed marriages and all this, you know, my family broke apart, like kind of workaholism and all this stuff, all the things that I saw. So I saw this and it just ran my own little algorithm in my brain that became that thing. And then later now in adulthood, I've had amazing experiences with both of my parents involving, you know, psychedelics and like deep conversations with one another and stuff. And both of my parents, like they don't know what self-love is. They really struggled with their whole life. They didn't know what that was. They didn't receive it. It wasn't mirrored to them from their parents. So that's when we talk about like ancestral trauma, to use like a new age word. It's really just behaviors and beliefs that are passed down to us through our mirror neurons.
Yes, absolutely.
Like literally watching them behave in the world. So the question becomes, what I've adopted through all of everything that I've ever done is my own philosophy, and it's totally subjective and nobody needs to adopt it, and I don't care if it's true. I just care that it works for me.
Yep.
And that is that my entire reality is a reflexive holosphere. This is a game created by me. It's a video game that I created for myself, and the whole thing is reacting to me by the millisecond based on my internal beliefs, my feelings about myself, my feelings about the world, and everyone I interact with is a mirror of me. So this is Justin having a conversation with Justin through a mirror called Steve. But the same is true of you. You are the God. You are the pilot in your driver's seat of your reality, and we all have our own subjective realities that are constantly intersecting with one another, and I believe ultimately we're all the same thing. So that's a little bit like the esoteric woo-woo side of it. But in 3D reality, the very best thing that I can do with my time on this planet is learn to cultivate unconditional love of self. Mm-hmm. Because if I believe the mirror to be true, then I'm sitting here right now and the energy that you should be picking up from me is unconditional love, acceptance, support, friendliness, whatever you want to call it. Like, I want to treat you really well. And most of this is nonverbal. So when I get in the car and drive away and you go back home, get on the plane or whatever, and you, hopefully you're on the plane and you're like, he's a really great guy. I feel good when I'm with him. When I leave Justin, I feel good. I want that to happen. And when I leave, I want to be like, when I'm with Steve, I feel good. And this is the thing of like magnetism and why people are connected, like why we ended up connected. And now we're doing podcast number 2 because we left podcast number 1 and we're like, that guy's great. Yeah. I like that guy, you know? So anyway, that's a little bit of like a longer story of how I think I view this thing to make the cultivation of self-love also makes me valuable in the world. It's like love of self is love of other. Yeah. And I think the most important thing that people have to do would be sort of real traditional Jungian depth psychology style shadow work. Yeah. There's new age shadow work where people get very caught up in like, oh, the darkness, I have to face the darkness and other shit. It's like this weird, like I have dark entities in me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's all you.
Yes.
100%. It's all you. You are God. You are the devil. You are the light. You are the dark. You are heaven and hell. And it's a constant battle of how those things are going to express themselves. It's the same energy vibrating at a different frequency. Yeah. God and the devil are one and the same. God doesn't destroy the devil because it would be suicide. Mm-hmm. It's very important. If you understand that, you're like, okay, cool. So you're wrestling with this thing. And I found that in the 3D world, the fastest way to unconditional love, because I believe in the mirror, is to allow unconditional love from other. But the only way you can do that, the mindfuck of it, is I encourage anyone listening to think about anything and everything that they have never told another living soul. You haven't told a therapist. You haven't told a coach. You haven't told your mom and dad. You haven't told your romantic partner. If there's anything like that dwelling within you, you need to find the safest person in your life and share with them. And share absolutely everything with them. And I didn't do this until I was, probably 35 or 36 years old with my now fiance, Megan, and the mother of my baby. And it was the most profound thing I'd ever done.
Yeah.
And it was this crazy experience because I was crying my eyes out, and I'm just like sharing with her like the deepest, darkest struggle that I've ever had and all the shit that I think makes me unlovable. Like, find the things that you really think, if people knew this, I would have no friends and nobody would love me. Find those things. And I express all this stuff to my partner. I'm sitting there crying. I remember where we were. We were in the bathroom of all places, and I'm just unloading on her. And she just looks at me, and she could tell that I was like done, and I'm like sniffling. And she's like, I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. Is that it?
Oh. Yes.
Dude, that's the body language. I have goosebumps. Like, watching you do that, I'm like that. I was like,
because you'd be like so fear, and then it's just like, oh, I'm accepted. Yeah. This person still loves me despite my darkest, awfulest, deepest wounds.
100%.
Oh, yes.
And if I fundamentally believe that Megan is me and I am Megan, and she accepts me in unconditional love in this thing, well, I've now gotten unconditional love of self from self through the mirror. And it's this right now, to be honest, I don't think I could hold any of the beliefs that I hold without tremendous psychedelic use. So people take that or leave it. Take your own journey, do what you want to do. Yeah. But I really had to like break apart reality on a quantum level to like get to feel it in this way. And I don't know if that's for everybody. I don't know. It's my own video game, right? And like that's what happened to me on my video game. And then when I started coaching men, doing like masculinity coaching, I have a program called King versus Prince. And then when I started working with entrepreneurs as well, because I help entrepreneurs scale their businesses, and I help men either improve their relationships or single men attract the partner that they want to have, right? And that was what I found. Secrets. Secrets, man. Secrets fuck up everything. As long as you are holding secrets and you think, I can never be X because of this thing that I'm harboring, you got to let that out. And even if it's something that, I mean, you could have some deep, dark shit that's like, you need to be institutionalized or something. Like, you got to let it out. You got to try to figure out a way to heal that thing and figure that thing out. Yeah. So that's what I think. I think the fastest path to unconditional love is expressing all parts of yourself in radical honesty and radical authenticity and letting people love you in it.
Dude, it's so good. It's so, because that stuff there that's in you, if you do not metabolize it, it will metastasize. It will manifest in a disease. It will destroy every relationship around you. It's going to show up uniquely for whatever character is playing that game and their particular karmic path. It might be a capped ceiling in business. It might be miserable relationships. It might be attracting the same fuckboy over and over again. It might be any manifestation of these things. Yeah. But until you fully metabolize it and get it out in that healing that can occur in the presence of a compassionate witness, it is eating you alive. Yeah. And you probably don't even realize it because it's so dark and so heavy. The reason you haven't told it to other people is the same reason that you stuff it down in the corner of shame for yourself. Oh, like, exactly. I can't even look at that. I know it's there. Like, when he said that, I immediately like, oh, that's the thing, but
not that.
Not sharing that one. No, not that one.
Justin saying that he can do that because his shit's not as dark as mine. That's what they're going to do. Oh, Justin's stuff is probably nothing, right? And a good example of this, I was in a room with like 15 men. It was like a men's group thing. And I remember like having this conversation, and you will see people like just disagree with me blatantly. I'm just like, no, that's not the thing. Like, it's got to be something else for me because it's not that. I don't really have anything like that. But like, wave of hand, like their body language is like brushing me off. Like, I don't really have that. And I pause the conversation. I'm looking around 15 guys, all of them in romantic relationships. How many of you have a porn habit that your partner doesn't know about? All 15. Every single. The room went fucking silent. Okay, but you have normalized, same as me, I've been using porn since I was 12 years old, right? Like, you are a millennial. When you turned the age of puberty, high-speed video internet hit your living room.
Alexandria's library of pornography.
Yes,
Yeah.
and our parents didn't know what to do with it. They could not have protected us from it. So you have these little baby boys, their fucking hypothalamus isn't even formed yet, and they're seeing like every kink fetish you can imagine, like, and then you get little boys who like what they want to do is they share the most extreme shit with their friends. Did you see this? Yeah. Here's 2 girls, 1 cup, whatever the fucking thing was. When we were, you know what I'm saying?
That image is burned in my head.
Yeah, bro. So we just got destroyed by this at such a young age. And it was so normalized that this is true for like all men across the board that a man will literally compartmentalize that, put it away, and say, I'm here and, you know, I'm having some issues in my relationship. We're struggling a little bit. We can't seem to figure it out. We're having the same fight over and over and over. This Justin guy just said that there's like any secrets that I have, I got to tell her. I don't really have anything like that. I don't keep any secrets from her. Like, yes, they don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
That's the deep work.
Whoa. Well, that's the nature of the shadow, right? In that union sense is, it's called a shadow because it's you can't really see it. It's behind you unless you go actively trying to face it.
Yeah.
Until you actually dig in. Unconsciousness, by definition, is under consciousness. Unless you are willingly going to search, feel, heal, all of that stuff willingly, you're gonna be. Your mind is very, very tricky. It is a trickster. It is really good at protecting you from the things that you're secretly ashamed of and wounded by. Wow, it's that's a really interesting call to action for people. And the pornography thing is really interesting. I've got a friend in my life who recently reached out and said that he completed 60 days of nofap and no porn. And he's like, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this is the most important thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You know, this was a kid that got given that stuff and just had a lifelong habit and normalized it, as we all do, until you realize like, oh wait, this is desperately not normal, and it is leaching into the relationships and my energy and my intimacy issues and even my drive for life. You know, like I was sharing with him some of the ridiculous things we used to say growing up, like, I'm gonna have a tactical wank before I go out.
Yeah.
Because we had this delusion that on a Friday night I'm going to have a tactical wank. The delusion is that if I masturbate before going out, if I do get a girl, because that happened every weekend, right? That like never happened. But if I did, that I at least wouldn't be embarrassed because I came early. Because I'd last longer, right? Because I'm desensitized and I got it out of my system. Yeah. But the reason it backfired every single time is because it either completely nuked and cut off at the knees the desire to go out, because now I was like, after that, you know, I'm probably just going to stay in and play video games instead. Or if I did make it out, there was zero desire to talk to girls because I'd taken care of that need in a misaligned way. And there was no, what do the kids call it these days? There was no vril. There was no like get out and chase. There was no energy there because I was spaffing it into a tissue, you know? And it's like, so yeah, just to hear you recount this, and I think you're dead right. You said earlier that this is also a desperate need to try and get something that feels like it almost works. It's that quote again, like temporarily it feels in a sordid way like love, and then you're left with the post-nut clarity if it's anything but that. And then to hear my friend say, yeah, like this is very profound. I am a different person without this darkness in my life, which was a manifestation of me. It wasn't, you know, the devil or Lucifer pulling tricks on me. It's an expression of my consciousness that is now operating at a different level, and I was able to overcome it. Yeah. Powerful.
Yeah, you weren't possessed by a porn entity that's forcing you to do this, you know what I mean? But what I like that you brought up is you touched on video games there too, right? It's like, okay, I got done with this thing. Now I'm going to go play video games. I have no desire to go out. I'll play this video game. Video games are the same thing. Yeah. Because video games have tricked men into thinking they're making progress.
Exactly.
Right. Where like prior to video games, it was like you had to go out in the real world and make progress. You had to make dollars or get gold or build a house or have a farm, whatever, right? Like, and all that, or go hunt, you know, like all of that is gone now. So you end up in this situation where like the brain is totally hijacked because it thinks it's making progress, and in the real world nothing is happening. So then you lose 8 hours to playing video games, and then you get done with the video games and it's just before bed, so you start scrolling Instagram, and again you see all the capitalism porn. You see Wes Watson with all his cars and Alex Hormozy and this person on a yacht and Dan Martell and blah, 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 all this stuff, right? And you're just like, what a fucking loser I am. I don't have anything. Why don't I have anything? How come I can't just figure out the discipline part? Well, because your brain thinks that you are accomplishing things 8 hours a day. You're getting a little dopamine. You're, whoa, my character in World of Warcraft is bigger and stronger, right? But meanwhile, you're wasting away like eating Doritos. You know, it's like it's really crazy. And then it seeps into everything that you do. That's like we were saying about the porn thing. There is no chance that you can consume porn even a couple times a week and not have the way that you treat women in the world be different. There is no possible way. You can't recover from that. You could be in a beautiful marriage and treat your wife really well and your kids love you and everything is great. There's going to be some little itch that needs to be scratched. And most therapists will say, like in couples therapy, it's always like the man feels like we're not having enough sex. Actually, what I think is happening there is the man has kinks that he has not shared with his partner and has desires that are not being met because he's afraid to share those desires. Like there are a million men listening to podcasts right now who like desperately want to have a threesome and would never in a million years think to tell their partner about that because they'd be afraid of being left. That's the kind of shit you got to tell people. So one, you need to figure out if you really have that desire or if it was just programmed in you from the fantasy that you saw on the screen. Like, do you actually want that thing, or would you get in the room with two women and actually feel really scared and unsafe? And, well, I don't know, maybe I'm not the person for this, right? Like you might not like that in real life. Same way, get to the top of the mountain, doesn't feel the way you think it's going to feel. So there's a lot of like visual stimuli and fantasies that men are getting that they think they want that they wouldn't actually want in real life. So you have to suss out what's real and what's fake. But it is important to share desires. I say this with couples all the time. It's like, you know, if you are a person that is in a relationship and you're a man and you think a lot of other women are sexy and you would like to be able to express like, oh my God, you see that girl? She was beautiful. I don't want to sleep with that girl. I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to get her phone number, but like, wow, she was really attractive. And if you're afraid your partner's going to leave you because you said that, like you need to sit down and have conversations about like, I like to express when I think other people are attractive. Is that a problem for you? Like get it out in the open and hear what's going on. And your partner might say, no, I don't like that. Or one partner might like that. And like, you might tell your wife, like, I want you to tell me when you think a guy's hot. And she's like, I don't want you to tell me when you think a girl's hot. Okay, cool. Then that's like an agreement that we have now. Yeah. Just get it all out there. And this is the stuff with like, you know, monogamy versus non-monogamy, all that is, I think a lot of monogamous couples just don't have these conversations. Yeah. So it's like, I always, first time calls with clients and stuff, I'll be like, if you're at a bar and your partner's not there and you flirt with a girl, is that cheating? And they're like, because they don't know. Well, what if you kiss a girl on the lips? Yeah, that's totally cheating. How do you know that's cheating? Because that's like definitely cheating. I kissed another girl. So your partner told you if you go to the bar and you kiss another girl on the lips, that's cheating. Well, no, she never told me that. Okay. Can you hug a girl at the bar? Is that cheating? Well, they start like glitching out because they've never had these conversations. Like people are so afraid of losing love. Like I said, two of the incentives, like the fear of losing love prevents them from sharing any and all desires. And I've seen a lot of couples do a lot of healing through like kink and BDSM style things of like, okay, I'm actually going to state a desire that actually feels pretty important to me. And just like showing up and I'm going to tell you this thing about myself that I've never told anybody. And you can tell me, yeah, I still love you. Right. Well, what if I have some kinky sexual fantasy and I share that with you? Do you still love me? Oh, you do? Well, oh, wait. We can do that? Yeah, You're saying we can try that?
Wait, you think that sounds okay? Go. What?
It's go time. Here we go. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing in their marriage or their relationship or what their rules and agreements are. I call them agreements, not rules. It doesn't matter what someone else's agreements are. Every couple is going to be different. Yeah. Some couples will happily together explore outside of their container and they're a team and they're doing it to bring themselves closer together. That's their agreement. Nobody gets to judge that. But this is the thing, standing in your own authentic truth. What do you want? What's your vision for life? How do you want to live? What's your blueprint for happiness? It doesn't have to be like anybody else's. But I think most people are going through life today hiding the things about themselves that they find unlovable. And a lot of those things they think make them unlovable are desires of things they actually want to experience. So, okay, you're going to be in this marriage for the next 50 years of your life and you're going to suppress every desire that you have that you're afraid to share with your partner, and your soul's going to be dying and screaming for more. Like, this is how infidelity happens. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So your partner, you're building resentment for your partner for not meeting your needs that you have never expressed.
Bingo. Yeah.
Crazy.
I always say this in relationships. I'm like, assume your partner is as dumb as you are. They cannot read your mind, and you're resenting them for not being able to read your mind. Yeah. Like, how foolish is that? How unfair is that?
Totally.
That's, this not speaking your truth, not expressing those needs for the fear of losing love is a paradox, because actually the paradox of expressing those love and being met unconditionally would deepen the love. So the thing that you're avoiding is the medicine, you know? And it's so interesting because, like, in that instance where you said then infidelity arises and it's the male story is we don't have enough sex and I'm not getting my needs met.
Mm-hmm.
So then they go back to the thing that can meet their needs. And I air quote that because it does very blippily, temporarily, and then you're left empty because it was a temporary distortion, a misaligned way of it. And I think, again, it could be solved that if you remove that habit from your life, then you're not going to cut off that desire at the need, and you're actually going to initiate with your partner. And you this is the one thing, and not to put all the onus on men listening to this, but it's a rule that I think is very healthy for men to follow because it's part of the dynamic of being a leader in relationship. Even if you have the story that this thing that's going on in your relationship isn't your problem or your fault, you are the solution.
Mm-hmm.
You are the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Lead to it. Go first. It is your responsibility. And yeah, I think your woman wants that too. And what is probably, I don't know, but what is more sexy to a woman to see a man have the courage and the vulnerability enough to speak his deepest, darkest secrets and request his needs powerfully?
Yeah.
Like, woo. And I know that scares, and I know that scares because I've had to go through it. I know it's fucking terrifying because we didn't really have a map, right? Nobody tells you how to do this. You gotta learn it through the deep work. You've got to learn it through asking yourself what kind of life and future you want to inherit, because you're living in your future now. Tell that to people all the time. You think somehow your future is going to magically get better. Like, you're in it right now. If you don't feel good about the trajectory, do something about it now, because waiting is not going to make it better. It's going to metastasize. It's going to get worse. So be less concerned with your current results, more concerned with your current trajectory. If your trajectory is rocking and you're like, we are so connected, we are so honest, time is going to make make You're going to be one of those couples that are like, oh, we've been married for 40 years. We love each other. We're still connected. If your trajectory is like, and you think, well, maybe just now is not the time. Like, maybe we'll do it when the kids are a bit older or they leave the house. You ain't going to get there, man. Something's going to happen in the interim. You can't do that to yourself. No. If you love this person and you love yourself, then treat yourself and your partner with the respect that they deserve to give it everything you've got. And that means radical honesty, right? Radical honesty.
Oh, totally. And I mean, think about I always use this term, like, if you're looking in a mirror, how do you get the mirror to smile at you?
Give it a smile.
You smile first.
Yeah.
That's it. You have to smile first. Like, this whole reflexive holosphere thing, you have to go first. And I think it's important for you and I too, to be like, well, I'm talking about this from the lens of a male because I'm a heterosexual male and I've had to go through these things, like, and you've had to go through these things, these same struggles. So, but I mean, the same is absolutely true of women. Like, if you're having desires and things that you're afraid to share with your partner, like, you got to think about that because you're doing the same. Withholding is dishonesty, period. Withholding is dishonesty. So whoever's listening to this, put yourself in like main character energy and you go first with the thing.
Yes.
That's really all you have to do. If you smile at the mirror is guaranteed to smile back at you.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that may mean that when you share all of yourself, the partner that you're with right now might not be the partner you end up with. They might reject you and
there's
walk
that fear
away.
of losing love again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they might leave the relationship. And that's the single most important thing you can do, because your authenticity just weeded somebody out who you were wasting time with. Because Megan and I talk about this all the time. Before the baby came, and people are going to say privilege and whatever. Like, we built an amazing life together, and we'd wake up in the morning, and I used to just look at her and I'd go, I don't know how the fuck it happened, but I love you more today than yesterday. How is this possible? She'd be like, I don't know. And we'd have these like little totally sober MDMA moments of like, how do I love you? But it was this. We were constantly deepening and constantly becoming more authentic, more vulnerable to one another. And I think that's the ultimate training ground for kids.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of, now I work with thousands of overweight middle-aged women, and mommy martyrdom is real. They resent their fucking families because they're overweight and they don't have any hobbies and they don't have any friends. And it's just, I've been living, my kids are 15 and 12. And the last 15 years of my life have been just like giving, and nobody does anything for me. But they're wanting everyone to read their mind. Right. And they're constantly doing the mommy martyrdom thing of like, oh, my time doesn't matter. Okay, I'll drive you to soccer practice, whatever. Like, they're not leaning on their partner. Their partner doesn't know that they're miserable behind the scenes. They're like, well, if I had time to go to the gym and I'm busy cooking for everybody else, how am I supposed to eat healthy? They're saying all that stuff to me. Yes. But they're not saying it to anybody in their life. Right. And they're doing the people pleaser thing. Like, you have to let people know what's going on in your internal world if you want to be unconditionally loved. And then that's the only way that unconditional love happens within self. The whole, the mirror dynamic is like critically important to understand.
Yeah. I operate from the same worldview, which I think why we get on so much and have such good conversations, because we do have a similar kind of philosophical framework. And It's I like these little aphorisms and stuff, but what you reminded me of now is easy now, hard later. Harder now, easier later. Like the easy now is to avoid all of these conversations for fear of loss of love, or that you don't have the tools or you don't have the confidence. So you take the easy path now, which means eating shit over and over and over again, martyring yourself, sticking your needs down the barrel, guaranteeing that it will be harder later.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you can do the hard right thing now, swallow your pride, do it even if it feels like pulling fucking teeth, even if it's like, this is the hardest thing in the world for me to do. It's going to be hard now. It's supposed to be hard now. It will make it easier later, even if you've got to go through that dip to realize like, oh, this person is not my person because they can't meet me there.
Yeah.
Or they are, and we heal. And what is later becomes even more special, even more beautiful,
100%.
even deeper.
Yeah. Well, and what you said is really important there, because when we go back to the incentive of fear of loss of love, why do people fear a loss of love? Now we go all the way back to daycare and childhood and all the thing. If you are not loved as a baby, you are going to die. You are dependent on someone loving you to just willingly give you shelter and food and love and warmth and all the things. Like, if you don't have love, you die. And then when we go back to tribal times, people always say that, like, you know, if you get cast out from the tribe in nomadic times, you're dead. Yep. That's a death sentence. If people don't like you, if people don't love you, it actually feels like you're going to die. And that's why it's so important. I always say this with clients too, is like, I will never ask you to do anything that I've not done, because I know it feels like death when you're going into it. So if you're hearing this right now and you're like, I have a secret that I got to tell somebody, like, just go do it. I had to dry fast alone in the woods for 4 days and then eat 7 grams of mushrooms to get all of the downloads that I needed. And that was my intentional thing with that trip. I call it my cabin experience. It's like my intention with that trip is like, I am going to go into this thing by myself for 5 days straight. I had it all mapped out. I knew when the mushrooms were coming. No journaling, no reading, no meditating 24 hours a day, no food, no water, doing what mainstream medicine says will kill you, and then breaking the fast with 7 grams of mushrooms. And I was like, I'm going to spend that time moving my body somatically and finding all the little pieces of me that I hate. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fucking uncover all of them. And then that was just like a rush of like, and then ultimately it was like, I drove home and had that conversation with me.
And the beauty in that is the person listening doesn't need to drive fast for 5 days and take 7 grams of mushrooms, because you can distill it all down to, I had to go through that experience to gather this little bit of wisdom, which is something like, tell the fucking truth.
Yeah, right.
You don't need to trip balls in the woods.
No.
We're giving you the shortcut.
Yeah.
You could go and do that, and you'll get this reminder, by the way. Oh yeah, I got to tell the truth because it's eating me up from the inside.
Totally.
Or you can do it, or you can eat it. You know, you can eat the truth or eat the mushrooms.
Yeah.
One way you're going to get there, you know. But it's so funny, dude.
Dude, I mean, this is the beauty of the thing, like living in the world we live in right now with AI, because I'm always trying to come up with analogies that like make really complex shit really easy to understand. I had to do that with like biochemistry all the time, right? Trying to make things really simple. Yeah. So recently I was like, oh, okay, now all these new AIs have agent mode. So I can have like an AI agent, and I can tell it like, book me a flight to London and find me a hotel and a rental car and blah, 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 and come back when you have my whole itinerary. And it goes, blah, 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 and I go make dinner, drink coffee, whatever. And then I come back and it's like, here's your itinerary that we found. And it shows you all the ways it searched and everything. By my philosophy of everyone else in my experience being a mirror for me, all just different versions of me, you are a super agent, right? So for the last, how old are you again?
30, just turned 36.
Yeah. So for 36 years, I've had a STEE super agent that I didn't know existed until 18 months ago. And then now I can sit down with Steve and he can explain to me all of these giant insights he's had. Or someone listening right now has a super agent, AI, that is Justin Nault, that is like, listen, I had this crazy cabin experience and I came back from it. And ultimately it was like, oh, I need to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth to my partner. And that made everything better. And it was amazing. And now I have the greatest relationship I've ever had, and I'm happier than I've ever been. And I have a beautiful baby, right? Bingo. There you go. Or in the same old school, you should just be like reading someone's book. Someone is dissecting, my whole life led up to this book that I wrote, and I think this topic you will like and is very important. Like, I read the 4-Hour Work Week and learned about lifestyle design and digital nomads, and I started an online business. Tim Ferriss was my AI super agent. He lived his whole life to then come tell me what I could adopt today, which was leave the music industry and start an online business. You'll be a lot happier. And I did it.
It's
It's crazy.
It's awesome, man. That's a really cool analogy. This telling the truth thing is obviously very well, it's obviously just been quite profound for you because, like you just said, it's resulted in a beautiful relationship and a baby and all the magical things. But it's also, it kind of rounds out what you started the conversation with as well, where, you know, you've been on a proverbial tour recently with these videos you're just dropping in your car where you're telling the truth. And I think that's why you had this, you know, recent reignition of your social media that's resonating with so many people and triggering so many people too, because the truth is a hell of a trigger for people that aren't willing to, you know, feel it and internalize it for themselves. Telling the truth is, I think Jordan Peterson would always say, like, telling the truth is the greatest adventure you can ever imagine. It'll take you on the greatest adventure you can ever imagine. And that means sometimes standing in, you know, the fire of polarities, right? You're no stranger to speaking your truth with as much fire and passion as you can, speaking out against the way that you want to raise your child, speaking out. I mean, I have a quote from you here. The more you trust the science, the more likely you are to die. That was one of the hooks from your video. And I saw there's all manner of expressions in the comment section there, but it's your truth.
Yes.
And, you know, not to turn this into a conversation about content creation, but this is one of the vehicles that you use to help people usher in a transformation. What is it like to, you know, have this lens and bring it back into social media land of telling the truth and, you know, stating that?
Yeah, it's really fun for me because I started just making videos. Like, I don't think this is my term by any means. I think somebody said this is like when you're coaching people, you're really just talking to you from 6 years ago. It's like I'm coaching Justin from 6 years ago. And that was when I really started to look at all this. Like, I remember the way that I became an entrepreneur, the way that I got into jujitsu, the way that I learned about kettlebells and powerlifting, the way that I learned about psychedelics was all podcasts.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm realizing that there's this like caricature of me on the internet that is the metabolism guy, you know? And then I would hang with guys like you or Paul or Chris or whoever, and our conversations were so wide ranging and we're such, I mean, everyone is deeply multifaceted.
Yes.
Every person listening to this is deeply multifaceted. And it was kind of like the music thing where I was like, I'm not super fulfilled being like, you have a slow metabolism and you need to eat more food.
Yeah.
You need to eat whole foods as they exist in nature. You need to get sunshine on your skin and sleep well and surround yourself with people who love you. Like, how many times could I make a video about that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just was like kind of burnt out, and I was burnt out on coaching metabolism and all these things. I got to this place where and it wasn't that I was burnt out because I didn't enjoy it. It was that I didn't think I was making enough of an impact. And I was like, okay, there was a point in time in my life when I was, you know, doing 2-a-days in CrossFit, and if I drank the night before, I would purposely make myself throw up so that I could get a workout in, and then I'd go eat Subway sandwiches, and I didn't understand, and then I'd go drink again at night. Like, I understood fitness, but I didn't understand real health and wellness. Yeah. So that was a huge percentage of my growth, was me learning deeply about health and wellness, and having, like, if people go back and listen to our discussion, I share that whole story.
Yeah.
My transformation of health and wellness then led me to entrepreneurship, and my friend Ryan Moran once said, entrepreneurship is the fastest path to personal development.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you have extreme ownership and you're responsible for everything, I cracked open so many parts of myself, and I traveled the world, and I joined masterminds, and I learned these things, and I basically ate glass for 8 years every day to make these fucking businesses work. And I learned so much about myself and training martial arts and all these things. It started with a foundation of better nutrition to make my brain work better, make my body work better, so that I could go out and explore more things that I love. And I ultimately came to, I have never helped someone with health and wellness. When they come to me on day one, not a single one of them has ever loved themselves.
Yeah.
Their self-talk is horrible. They think they are a piece of shit. They think they're lazy. They think they're undisciplined. They think they're uniquely broken. Their life sucks. They're in victim mentality, blah, 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 blah. I could give them all the nutrition advice in the world, but it wasn't until all of my programs started layering in self-love work that I started seeing people literally leave physically abusive marriages, or quit a job that they hate, or be like, I live in North Dakota and I hate the snow. I think I'm gonna move, right? And I would help people with their nutrition. Call one was all like, how do I lose the most weight possible? Justin, how much weight can I lose in 30 days? And then we really get all the toxins and poison out and feed them enough food, nutritious foods, give them some heart and soil, this kind of thing, right? And 90 days later, the questions they were asking me were different.
Yes.
The quality of the questions were different because their cognitive function was completely different. The amount of energy their cells had available was different. And they're like, man, I've been having some interesting conversations with my husband lately, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we're 90 days in and you're not asking me any more questions about how much weight you're going to lose. How long do I have to follow this diet? When can I eat pizza again? Like, we cleaned up the system. And now then I'd start to ask people questions. What do you like to do for fun? And it's basically all middle-aged people I was working with. The number one answer to that question was, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Haven't had fun in years.
Haven't had fun in years. Yeah, exactly. Maybe go take guitar lessons, take a dance class. I remember I had one lady was in North Dakota, actually, and I had her go outside and jump in a river behind her house in the winter. And she sent me a WhatsApp voice memo and was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. Like, her whole brain was different, you know? And it was just the novelty of, like, break you out of this fucking stuck rut that you're in. So that's the reason why I came back out in this way. And I have a group coaching program, and all the people in the group, in the WhatsApp group, were like, whoa, like, we've never heard you talk about vaccines publicly. We've never heard you talk about traumatized influencers publicly. Or I made a follow-up video that was about my trauma and when I was on the TV show and all the things I did. And I just started sharing, like, really deeply and be like, no, this is my truth. I don't care if it's your truth, and I don't care if you agree with it. I'm sharing my truth because the right people are going to find it and be damn, there's something to that. So that's really what it was. I was like, oh, I think the best work that I can do in the world and the thing I'm most passionate about is getting people to love themselves more. And I just wanted to share that.
And you can't get people to love themselves more if you don't love yourself enough to tell the truth about the things you're passionate about. And also acknowledging that your truth will trigger those people that are just not for you. And that's cool, because humans come in all unique sizes, shapes, packages, wants, desires, world beliefs. And if you try and be, extra vanilla in an ice cream shop, you're not really going to stand out, are you? The people are going to be magnetized for your courage to state your truth with as much fire and passion as you can. And I think there is something about having children that quite honestly accelerates that progress to, like, there's not really much time left to try and, like, make everybody happy. It's just like, you just kind of give less of a fuck by giving more of a fuck about what's true,
Yeah, totally.
And you're just like, all right, I just gotta own it. I just gotta send it.
Yeah, well, and what I found too, that's really kind of gross. Like, so I help entrepreneurs scale their businesses by having them work less. I'm like, I want you to work a fifth of the time you're working now, and we're going to increase your revenue while you do it. And I have amazing systems for doing that. Social media systems, AI systems, lead management, how to coach, all these things. Like, I can teach people to scale businesses very, very quickly. And the reason for that is because I think that, I totally lost my train of thought there. God, there was such a good point there.
Damn, I hate when that happens.
Oh my God, wait a second. We were talking about the, why I'm making content. And I felt like, I think I was going to say something like I felt like I was hiding. Damn, I lost it, bro.
Yeah, what kicked us off, I was kind of like, kids accelerate your process to, like, not giving a fuck and standing more firmly in your truth. Then you was on a thread of helping entrepreneurs work less and make more money. Does that bring anything back?
Yeah. My nicotine didn't work.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you've been just blasting wisdom for an hour straight. Your brain's like, oh, now we need to increase that metabolism. Get some thyroid in us.
Yeah. No, it was something about, like, what I ultimately recognized was that I was hiding parts of myself, but I can't remember why I was doing the entrepreneur thing there.
Right.
Yeah.
Does it feel good to be out of the closet, though? Not hiding any parts of yourself anymore, just warts and all, like, here I am, accept me, or love me, hate me, loathe me, whatever, but I'm here to be a mirror. Funnily enough, be a mirror.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, like, when we were talking earlier about, like, the being radically honest, being fully authentic, I think part of my kind of renaissance of content was recognizing that I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can do it on a small scale, right? Like, okay, if I feel super safe with my partner, Megan, I can tell her anything and she's going to love me unconditionally. And then what I realized from there, I was like, okay, I have to replicate this, right? And then I started finding people in our community. We have a very strong community with amazing friends. So I tell Megan, and then the next day I'm like, I'm going to go tell my friend and I'm going to give him all of me. And then there's another friend. Hey, guess what? I got something to tell you. Then it almost becomes fun. I remember what it was. I got it. Dude, thank you.
Knew it'd come back.
Okay. Yeah. So I help people scale their business systems. And part of that is helping them share more of themselves. Because the thing that I was going to say about entrepreneurship that I think is kind of gross today is, like, if you're going to make content everyone right now, every expert marketer that you ever see out there is going to say authenticity. You got to be more authentic. You got to be more authentic. You got to be more authentic, right?
It's the buzzword.
It's a buzzword. It's become a marketing claim.
Yeah.
And what happens is in the world of AI, now everyone starts telling a little story to ChatGPT. Like, I want to tell a story about how I overcame this struggle to become an entrepreneur. And then it's like, ChatGPT, polish this up and make me sound a bit like Alex Hormozy and put it in the structure of Russell Brunson's perfect webinar. And then I'll post content that is me telling an authentic story about this experience that I had, right? And it made me so sick that I built a custom AI software that prevents that from happening. I was like, fuck this shit. This is so bad. And I started seeing people like, you know, I made a video about Austin coaches and got a lot of heat because I was like, I'm going to blow the lid off Austin coaches right now. Like, all these coaches are full of shit. I know them behind the scenes. This is not how their lives are. Like, you have perpetually single people that are always in toxic relationships and breaking up that are relationship coaches, right? And then as my Instagram started getting more successful in the recent months, people that I know started leaving comments on my post, and their comments are full of M dashes.
Yes.
And I'm like, you fed my video to ChatGPT, and you said, leave an authentic comment in my voice responding to this video, and then you commented on my page because you saw me, your homie Justin, he has 95,000 followers now. Okay, I'm going to comment on his page, and then people are going to like that post, and they're going to know that I'm important. So this is what I was getting at with the authenticity piece, is I was like, this is just more hiding. You are full of shit. You literally don't think that what you say is important enough to get attention on social media, so you're asking Chat Daddy GPT to make you sound special because you think that authenticity is a fucking marketing term.
That's right.
To get you more sales. No, here's the way to be authentic on social media. Tell the fucking truth. Yeah. That's the point that I was trying to get to, where we like that, because you asked me that the whole renaissance of content. I'm so glad that I was like, man, where was I going with this? But that's what it was for me when I started making content, is I realized I don't want to go online and talk about vaccines. That's scary. I didn't vaccinate my kid. What are people going to think? And now this is like Justin from 6 years ago. I didn't vaccinate my kid. What are people going to think? Right? No. Now, 39-year-old Justin, you come near my kid with a needle, I will fucking kill you. Period. Like, you bring a fucking SWAT team, bro. You ain't getting near that kid. It's not going to happen. And I will talk about that publicly. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, I just got to this place where I was like, no, practice what you preach. I'm behind the scenes with clients telling them, you have to be more authentic. You have to tell the truth. I'm being authentic and telling the truth with my family and my friends and all these things. And I'm living this thing. But then I'm just like this metabolism guy. Where I'm like, oh, metabolism. And I'm like, okay, no, I need to start sharing the real shit. If I want to really help people, I have to practice what I preach and lean into full authenticity. And wouldn't you know it, the moment I did that, ta-da, bingo, the social media comes back and starts sailing.
It's so good. I don't know how long ago it was. A couple of months ago, I sent you a voice note and I was just checking in. But one of the things I said was, I love this like more truthful / unhinged Justin, because it's so refreshing. And I'm so glad you caught that point, because I've been thinking, I mean, I was trying to pull up something I posted recently, but it was very similar. I said something along the lines of, very soon you're going to meet a creator that you admire online, and you're going to speak to them, and you're going to realize that they're probably just a good-looking NPC, because when they don't have a script in front of them, they can't figure out what they think or what to say, and they're just going to look at you blankly and say, thank you. And you're going to be like, wait, who's this guy? Because people aren't this authenticity, like, I'm going to teach you how to be authentic. That's not really how it works. No. Like, you dig out the authenticity from you by telling the truth. And don't tell your truth to ChatGPT and then ask it to, get this with a killer hook and what's my CTA and that, because then it's no longer you. And I think this is what the increasing AIification of the world, we are going to be craving, just people that, like, there is a resonance to truth. I don't give a shit what anybody says. You feel it. When you see it, you feel it, and it sticks. And I wonder if, like, in some way, because of the mirror effect, because of the importance of seeing other people that you're close to do things and how it ignites or unlocks something in you, I recently, shaved off my beard, cut off my hair, and since just, I don't know, changed my energy a little bit on social media. But somebody commented the other day, it was like, homie cut off his beard and cut the chains with it. And a lot of people have commented, like, I don't know what's going on, but I like it. Like, you're a little more... I'm just like having fun, a little bit more brash, and just like more of who I am online, because I'm not hiding anymore either. And part of it was just like a big middle finger to this. I could name names right now of content creators that I know them in person, and they're very smart and very intelligent, and the shit that I'm seeing them put out online, I can tell is not them.
No.
It's a chat GPT-ified version of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your shit was better when it was just you, with all your ums and ahs, instead of this perfect script that you're reading now like a robot with zero mistakes and perfect cadence. And it's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. And I mean,
like
what I think AI does is like really the reason why I wanted to help people with this is because I think it takes social media becomes a generic content cesspool, right? So you have creators, now everyone can come to the dance, right? You have creators that make 0 out of 10 quality content, like 10 being the best quality, theirs is a 0. ChatGPT will pull them up to a 5. Then you have 10 out of 10 content creators that start using GPT and it pulls them down to a 5, right? So you end up with this like homogenous, gross, like every single thing you scroll is like hook this, hook that. Oh, wait, I just saw this hook 3 different times and this one did.
Yeah.
And then you have the content creators that all they do is help you grow your Instagram account. And every post they do is like, steal this hook.
Yeah.
And they show you, and you're just like, oh, what are we doing, man?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I found this in health and wellness too, was there are so few health and wellness influencers that have original ideas. And I realized that more and more health influencers were coming out. Like I started making content for Clovis in 2016, you know? So yeah, like almost a full 10 years ago that I started making content. And I can see people now that just come out of nowhere and all of their videos are actually someone else's video, like fully someone else's video. Like they got a hook from someone else and maybe they changed it a little bit and put their own spin on it, but they're like, they found this 1 million view video, or they'll find a reel from our last episode and then like make their own version of it.
Bingo.
So you have this like copy and paste thing that's happening, and it's really going to fuck people up because there's no original ideas being shared.
There's
anymore.
no substance behind any of that.
Yeah, it's like idea arbitrage, you know, and it's just being recycled over and over and over. It's really yucky. Like you got to figure out how, and I know people are going to use AI, like for sure people are going to use AI. So that was like, I literally like spent a lot of time building a software that is like, is going to interview you like a podcast. It will know you better than you fucking know yourself. And like, if you're going to use AI, it's going to at least be your original ideas.
Yes.
It has to be. Like we have to change this because I think AI is like destroying social media content.
Yeah, agreed. And this is why, regardless of what a podcast does and who it reaches, it's a selfish endeavor for me because I enjoy this more than almost anything else in the world outside of my family. Is just for an hour and a half where all the bullshit is down. We're two humans that can make mistakes, that can trip over our words, that can get ourselves in trouble with getting off into uncharted territory, and then can smile about it and laugh about it. And I crave that. It's what influenced me so much. It's how I learned so much. And to like sit here now and share real, authentic conversations with people who are at similar phases in life, it's just very, very refreshing to me. And I honestly think we could podcast for 3 hours, but unfortunately I've got a plane to catch, so we got to wrap this one up, dude. But then we'll do round 3 and there'll be more organic stuff. Or we can just, next time we'll chat GPT script the whole thing and we'll just read it like 2 robots and we'll have awesome clips and it will be amazing.
Yeah, we'll just give it this video and it'll make AI clones of us. We don't even have to be here.
Exactly.
You know? It'll be us on video, beards and all.
Dude, tell everyone where they can go to keep up with what you're up to and catch you spitting heat in the car these days.
Sure, yeah. All social media is at Justin Nault Official. I'm definitely, that's Nault, by the way, Justin Nault Official. I'm definitely most active on Instagram for sure. If you DM me on Instagram, I will be like, hi, how are you?
Yes.
It won't be automated, and like I'd love to help you however I can.
Dude, you're a real person. I love hanging, man, and I'm very excited to see your continued journey into fatherhood and everything else you create, man. You're a real one.
Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure. This is one of my least favorite things about podcasts is I meet someone like you and then you don't live near me.
I know,
like,
dude.
Damn it. I'm not going to see Steve for I don't know how long, but I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.
You lot, stay radical. We'll see you next time. Peace. All right, friends. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Radical Health Radio. We got a fresh new podcast for you every Wednesday. If you enjoyed the show, consider liking, subscribing, reviewing, and rating us on your podcast platform. It helps to spread this message of radical health. We'll see you next week.